Let's talk about the pulp cavities of the mandibular teeth. Mandibular central incisor. First of all, let's have a look over the labiolingual section. In the figure 13.16, A and D. The mandibular central incisor is the smallest tooth in the mouth, but its labiolingual dimension is very large. This tooth usually has one canal. Two canals may be found, but not very frequently. The pulp horn is well developed in this tooth. You can see this in figure 13.16, A1 through 6 and 8, D10 through 18. As ablation occurs, reactive dentin is produced that will essentially move the pulp tissue farther from the original location of the external surface of the tooth. This is evident in figure 13.16, A9. You can see in the figure 13.16, A1, 2, 4, 6 and 8, D10, 11, 13 and 17, where the pulp chamber is very large. You can see this in figure 13.16, A3, 5, 7 and 9, D12, 14 and 15, where the pulp chamber is intermediate in size, or you can see in figure 13.16, D16 and 18, where the pulp chamber size is very small. The pulp canal may taper gently to the apex. You can see this in figure 13.16, A2, 3 and 7, D10, 11, 14, 16 and 18, or narrow abruptly in the apical 3 to 4 mm of the root. You can see this in figure 13.16, A1, 4, 5, 6 and 8, D12, 13, 15 and 17. The apical foramen may appear to exit at the apex. This is evident in the figure 13.16, A1, 4, 6, 7 and 9, D10, 11, 12, 15, 16 and 18, or on the buccal aspect of the root. This is evident in the figure 13.16, A2, 3, 5 and 8, D10, 13, 14 and 17. Mesodistal section, figure 13.16, B, E and 13.16, B and E. A buccal or facial view of a mesodistal section of the mandibular central incisor demonstrates the narrowness of the pulp cavity. A buccal or facial view of a mesodistal section of the mandibular central incisor demonstrates the narrowness of the pulp cavity. In any tooth, usual rule is the pulp chamber in the mesodistal section is usually smaller than the buccolingual section. The pulp chamber size in the mesodistal section is usually smaller than that in the buccolingual section. However, the secondary or tertiary, that is irritation-induced dentin, may be interfere with the endodontic treatment. This is evident in figure 13.16, D16 and 18, E13 and 18. The pulp horn is usually prominent but single. The canal also appears narrow, having a gentle taper from the pulp chamber to the apical constriction. The canal may exit at the apex. You can see this in figure 13.16, B2, 5 and 8, and E12, 14, 16 and 17 are mesially or distally to the apex of the root. This is evident in figure 13.16. B1, 3, 4, 6, 7 and 9. E10, 11, 13, 15 and 18. Let's have a cervical cross section. This is evident in figure 13.16c. The cervical cross section demonstrates the proportions of the root. The mesodistal dimension is small, whereas the labiolingual dimension is very large. The external shape is variable. It may be round, oval or elliptical. The more nearly round the root, the more nearly round is the canal. You can see this in figure 13.16. See, if the root is more round, the canal will also be more round, right? Two separate canals may be present, or a dentinal island may appear as though two canals are present. This is evident in figure 13.17. This is the figure 13.17. Here, two canals may be evident, or a dentinal island may be present, which make it to appear as two canals, right? Now let's discuss about the pulp cavity of the mandibular lateral incisor. First, let's discuss about the labiolingual section in figure 13.18a and d. We know that the mandibular lateral incisor tends to be a little larger than the mandibular central incisor in all dimensions, and the pulp chamber is also large. The form and function of the mandibular lateral incisor are identical to those of the central incisor. The pulp horn is usually prominent. The pulp chamber may possess a dimension that is very large. You can see this in figure 13.18a, 2, 4, 5, 8 and 9, D10, 11, 16, 17 and 18, or it may be intermediate in size. You can see this in figure 13.18a, 1, 3, 6 and 7, D12, or it may be small. You can see this in figure 13.18, D14 and 15. The pulp canal may taper gently from the apex. You can see this in figure 13.18a1, 2, 3, a1, 2, 4, 6, 7 and 9, D12 and 14 through 17, or it is narrow abruptly in the last 3 to 4 mm of the canal. This is evident in figure 13.18, A3, 5 and 8, D10 through 13. The apical foramen may appear to exit at the tip of the root. This is evident in figure 13.18, A1 through 6, 8 and 9, D12 through 15, 17 and 18, or on the buccal or lingual aspect of the root tip. This is evident in figure 13.18, A7, D10, 11 and 16. Now let's talk about the mesodistal section. In the figure 13.18, B and E, the pulp chamber and the canal as viewed from this aspect will demonstrate a slender cavity. The mandibular lateral incisor resembles the mandibular incisor, but it may appear a little wider and have a pulpal dimension that is larger. The pulp horns are prominent and the pulp chamber on and pulp canal gently tapered to the apex. The apical foramen may appear to exit at the tip of the root. This is evident in figure 13.18, A1, 2, 3, 6 and 9, D12 through 15, 17 18 are on the mesial or distal aspect of the root tip. This is evident in figure 13.18, A 5, 7 and 8, B 10, 11 and 16. Cervical cross section. Let's talk about this in figure 13.18. C. The cervical cross section of the mandibular lateral incisor shows the pulp canal centered in the root. A comparison of the several of the sections demonstrate the cervical cross section of the mandibular lateral incisor. Let's talk about the cervical cross section of the mandibular lateral incisor. This is seen in the figure 13.18. See, the cervical cross section of the mandibular lateral incisor shows the pulp canal centered in the root. A comparison of the several of the sections demonstrates a root somewhat larger than that of the mandibular central incisor. Considerable variation is evident in the form of the root. The root outline form is oval to elliptical. Some cross sections of the larger teeth resemble the cervical cross sections of small mandibular canines. Figure 13.18 C2, 3 and 4 will show this. The root canal follows the outline form of the root, and some roots demonstrate root grooves. This is evident in 13.18 C6. Let's talk about the mandibular canine. The mandibular canine labiolingual section in figure 13.19 A and D. The pulp cavity. Let's talk about this mandibular canine. First of all, about labiolingual section, which is evident in figure 13.19 A and D. The pulp cavity of the mandibular canine is similar in size and shape to that of the maxillary canine. The pulp cavity of the mandibular canine is similar in size and shape to that of the maxillary canine. The mandibular canine tends to be a little shorter, although the opposite can be found. It is not uncommon to find two roots or at least two canals in the mandibular canine. A dentinal island may be found in any tooth that demonstrates an extremely wide labiolingual dimension and a narrow mesodistal dimension. Because the presence of two canals cannot be easily detected radiographically, their presence must be ruled out clinically as well. The pulp cavity in a tooth of this kind varies accordingly into where the section is examined. See figure. अच्छा मैडम